Well, hello and welcome back to my latest episode of my lockdown podcast. Today I am joined by a lovely lady called Sarah Shorrock, who is a professional hairdresser, and we are going to be discussing all about the hair do's and the hair don'ts of the coronavirus lockdown, because people are taking to doing their own hairstyles at home because they cannot go to salons to go and get it done professionally. So Sarah will be giving us some bits of tips and advice on what to do and what not to do if you're thinking about doing your own hair at home. So stay tuned, because I will be speaking to Sarah very, very soon. We are all on the verge of going absolutely stir crazy from being locked up inside with nothing much to do apart from eating, sleeping and watching Netflix. I've exhausted pretty much the entire Netflix account in my house, and I'm now starting to watch things which I've already seen. Boredom is well and truly beginning to sink in, but it's all still good. I'm still enjoying it the best I can, even more because I get to do these little podcasts. We have just got past week number 6, and that of course means it was clap number 6. One highlight from last week, which I was absolutely hooked on, and I could not wait for 9 p.m. to come, and that was the new version of The Chase. How amazing was that? Just the concept of it absolutely blew my mind. It was great. I found myself bouncing on the edge of my seat when they were getting so close to beating the chasers, and like that episode where there was like 1 second to spare. That for me should be that should replace the original version of The Chase. Just keep it with The Chasers. What a great idea. And I'm sure lots of people out there as well feel the exact same. It's just tons better. They're actually playing for time and money. It's not just money. It's this, the whole concept is just, it's brilliant. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it on catch up on demand services, whatever, because you will not be let down. It is very, very good. And it's actually nice to see something new on the telly instead of repeats and things you've already seen, and of course news coverage of COVID-19. I'm sick of hearing about it now. I know it's going on, but it's all the time. Everything is about coronavirus and COVID-19. It makes you realise that Brexit wasn't actually so bad after all. And another thing which has happened during week number 6 of lockdown was Captain Tom Moore, who raised millions for the NHS by walking 100 miles for his 100th birthday. Now, he turned 100 and he topped £31 million for charity, for the NHS. Remarkable. He received thousands upon thousands of birthday cards. He received a personal greetings card from the Queen and thanks and things. He got a message from Boris Johnson. You name it, he got so much for his birthday to say thanks and everything else. But one thing that also happened was Captain Tom was promoted to honorary colonel. So he will now and forevermore be remembered as Colonel Tom Moore, an absolute legend who raised millions for the NHS, and who without probably things would not turn out the way they have. So massive well done, Tom. Thank you. And you are an absolute legend. Being stuck inside with not a great deal to do actually makes you realise just how much you miss things and you take things for granted. Little things like getting your hair cut. I, like many other people, am in desperate need of a bit of a trim on top. Now, I've had lots of different hairstyles in my life. I've had shaved head, short head hair, long hair to the point where it was halfway down my back. I've now gone back to short hair, which is currently getting longer because it needs to be cut. During this lockdown, we have seen a massive influx of people taking to their own clippers and scissors and cutting their own hair and cutting their partner's hair. Bringing back in fashion, if you want to call it fashion, the classic haircuts like the basin cut and the buzz cut. Yes, I have also had a basin cut, but I will not be going back there. I think it will be a very drastic and sad day when I have to dig out the bowl from underneath the sink, place it on my head and chop around the bottom with some scissors. Even daytime television have started to cover this topic on their shows, and people are sending in pictures and videos and stories of them cutting their partners and their own hair at home. Yes, it is something that needs to be done, and yes, it can be quite funny. But I thought I'd make a little podcast about it and have a guest who will come and have a chat with me about what it is like to be a hairdresser and just how there's more to it than what you actually realise. It's not as simple as getting a pair of scissors and just going hell for leather, chopping at your hair. So Sarah, my next guest, has taken some time out from being extremely busy, not actually cutting hair because she can't work because she's locked down, but actually from working on her farm, which is quite amazing in itself as well. And she is in the middle of her lambing season, so, she's looking after them little baby lambs. But she's took some time out to come and have a chat and give us some advice on how to cut your hair and what you should and shouldn't be doing. So hello Sarah, thank you very much for joining me today on my podcast. Now I know you have taken some time out of a very busy schedule because not only are you a hairdresser, but you live on a farm and you're in the middle of your lambing season.
Yep, we are that, yes.
So just before we start, how has life been affected on the farm during this lockdown?
On our farm, not too badly. My husband's actually a contractor, so he goes out onto other people's farms to work. So he's been really, really busy. But it is the start of our lambing season. We lamb quite late. So, we've been busy waiting on these lovely little lambs to appear. We have some cows as well. And we usually have pigs too, but they've not arrived with the situation because we are actually a farm that has school children visits too. So, so it's just changed slightly this year, but my husband's very, very busy, as all farmers are.
Wow. Just a little question that has sprung to my mind about pigs, because I've always wanted a micro pig. Now,
don't ever get a micro pig because they're never ever micro pigs.
See, that's what people have told me, and it breaks my heart because I think somewhere someone is going to say no, they do exist, and you can have one.
Well, they do exist when they're babies, but they're not micro pigs.
Oh no, that's just broken my heart. Never mind. So you are a professional hairdresser, and currently, like a lot of people, you are not able to work. So you find but luckily you can keep yourself busy because of the farm and the lambs and things. Now, surely you must have seen this sudden influx and this sudden craze and trend on social media of people cutting their own hair or their partner's hair.
Yes, I have seen them trying to cut their own hair or their partner's hair, yes.
Trying being the definitive word there, because I've seen lots, and they are more kind of hair don'ts than hair do's, I would say.
Yes, because everybody thinks they are a hairdresser. Everyone thinks they can cut hair. I think hairdressers generally make it look easy, like most people do with their own jobs. So there's a budding hairdresser in everybody that thinks they can cut and colour hair, which, to be honest, if you're not trained, no, you can't.
No, because it isn't easy. I mean, I wouldn't even attempt. I've had lots of hairstyles in my life. I've short hair, long hair, and especially when I had long hair, I was really, really particular who I would get to even touch it. It was just because I was just so paranoid about, what if you do it wrong? I'm going to have to shave it again.
Yeah, you'd be scared to have it cut. Yeah, I think more people with long hair are more like that.
Mm. So when you see these posts and these videos and these pictures and things, just because there is a certain way to cut hair, and as you say, people think that they can do it, and everyone's got a in a hairdresser. Just how do they make you feel? Do you ever cringe at someone who think, what are you doing? You're doing that so wrong. Why are you doing that?
Well, I just think the way things are at the moment and the situation, it just makes me laugh because, some people probably think, especially men, they've no choice. They're going to have to cut their own hair or just let it grow. And there's that many different hair types. If you've got wiry, thick hair that grows outwards instead of down, you're not going to want to live with that. So I just laugh. I just find it quite amusing when my clients send me videos of the husbands cut their hair. I just say it looks great.
just to be so placid and keep the peace. Go,
Yeah,
yeah, wonderful job, wonderful job.
wonderful. Yeah, and I'll just pick up the pieces as and when.
As and when you wave your magic wand afterwards, and I
Yeah,
mean,
well, we try.
it's little things. It's just, I mean, I remember like I've got older brothers, and when they were younger and I was a lot younger, like basin cuts, they were always a thing, and it's like you're seeing people now. Just it's become a bit of a kind of trend on social media, just and people making a thing of sitting there with a bowl on the head and just cutting around it as if.
Well, it gives them a shape to cut round, doesn't it? To stick to. But it's either that or they're having the hair shaved off, aren't they? I've seen a lot of lads have the hair shaved off completely.
Yes, I think that is the easiest option. And if I was to do it, I'm not brave enough to do it, but if I was, I would go for, the good old fashioned buzz cut.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, hair grows.
It does.
So
It
it
does.
grows back. It's not really a big problem because it grows.
And let's face it, we can't really go anywhere these days to go and show off a good hairstyle, bad hairstyle, so whatever.
No.
Desperate times and all that.
Yes, definitely.
So in your career, because you have been hairdressing for quite a while, so in your career, not just the lockdown, like what has been the worst DIY haircut you have seen?
Not necessarily cutting wise, but colouring. People they want to go from dark to blonde to platinum blonde, in one sitting. Well, that is a disaster because they start bleaching the dark colour out and it goes to a nice orange. And then they land up on your doorstep saying help. So the colouring's the worst thing. With hair, they've taken chunks out the fringe or they've tried to layer the back and they've taken chunks out the back and things like that. But that soon, to be honest, a couple of cuts in, it's straight again. But colouring, they're just disastrous. They just think it's so easy. And it's not. It's so technical colouring.
I will hold my hand up. I once coloured a friend's hair, the ones in the box. And
Yeah.
We both thought it's in a box. What possibly can go wrong? Well, everything pretty much went wrong. It didn't take very well, and then we did it again, and then in bits it took more than other places. So it was a very patchy purple.
Yeah, and when you get a box colour, you get it off the shelf, and it depends. I mean, if you've got completely natural hair, it will probably be pretty accurate to what's on the box colour. But if you've got bleach or any other colour on your hair, it's not going to go anything like the colour it's showing on the box. And every box colour goes one shade darker at least. So if you get a medium brown and stick it on, you'll end up with it black. So and we know, and as hairdressers, we don't know what they put in these colours. So we come to then colour hair, and we can't use our colours because they react badly with what's on the person's hair, or it's just a no-no, a big no-no to buy a box colour. In fact, I've been going around delivering colours to my clients' doors, mixing them up and leaving them on the doorstep. So they don't do that.
Well, that kind of makes sense in a way because you don't know what's in them, and because people's hair is always different and colours are different, and I mean it's like mixing paint, isn't it? If you're mixing a colour and one shade is slightly different than another one, you can never mix the same colour twice, and it's very different. So if you're putting it on another colour, it's gonna have an effect. So yeah, that does make perfect sense.
Yes. It's just don't go down that road is my biggest advice.
Stay away from the colour. So is it true that like when you've coloured your hair and say you go from one extreme to the other, you've got to strip it again before you can recolour it?
It depends how drastic. If you want to go from a dark brown to a light brown, well then you just put some highlights in and gradually strip it. But if you wanted to go from a dark brown to a platinum blonde, it takes hours.
Wow.
And a lot of different stages to get there. It's you see these stars on TV, one day the dark, one day the blonde. Well, it's not real. It takes hours. It takes hours and hours and hours to strip the hair, and it's not good for the hair.
Social media is the biggest craze at the minute, and there's lots of platforms for people to keep in touch and to communicate and to talk. We've got the likes of Zoom, Skype, there's House Party, there's other ones which are out there as well, your Facebook Lives and things. have any of your clients approached you and said, Sarah, can you do a video with us? Can you do a little conference call and show us how to cut my hair or my partner's hair?
Up to now, no. I've had clients ring asking about their husband's hair and which clippers to buy and how to use the clippers and what attachment do I put on. And I've just today a client send me a picture of her hair that her husband's cut, and I must admit I did cringe a little bit on that one, but I did tell her how amazing it looked, and he was in the wrong job, obviously. So
Brilliant.
But no, up to now, I've not talked anyone through a full haircut. But, you know, if I needed to, I would. I mean, perhaps a fringe trim or something. I don't think you could talk someone through, because when you're picking up the hair, you're holding it all at different angles and you have tension on the hair that you pull tight and things. So I think unless it was just a straight along the bottom and a fringe, I don't think you could really talk them through a hairstyle.
There was actually a thing in the news the other day about hair clippers have become a mass shortage. You can't seem to get them anywhere. Amazon have like totally sold out. And I looked into this because I wanted to get some. I've got a very furry Chihuahua. No, that sounds worse than what it was meant to do, and I do apologise, but he is. He's called Arthur. He's lovely. He's just a big ball of fluff. So I wanted to give him a little bit of a trim, and I cannot find hair clippers anywhere. You know,
and they doubled in price as well initially. So they're usually about 70 quid, and I think they've gone up to 140 because my brother lives in London and he asked me about clippers. So I mean, to me, if you can just leave it and just trim around your ears, I think you'd be fine.
Yeah, no, it's the natural look. There's nothing wrong with looking natural.
We're all the same, aren't we, at the moment? So
exactly. You know, you can't go anywhere. So what's the point in having a wonderful hairstyle? Just go with it. Go with the flow. Flow.
Definitely.
So if somebody listening is adamant that they want to have a bash themselves, what would be the biggest and best tip you would give someone in order to get them through and make some kind of success at doing their own hair?
Well, my biggest tip would be to cut the hair dry. I know hairdressers don't do this. We tend to wash the hair and cut it wet. But I would say cut the hair dry, because hair, once it's dried, does spring up. So if you cut your fringe, which a lot of people do, they chop the fringe along and then they come to dry the hair and it's like near the hairline. So not a good look unless you want that kind of look. So my biggest tip would be to cut the hair dry.
Yes, because I mean, I didn't know this. I didn't know that your hair shrinks. So I mean, I would have gone straight in with a pair of scissors, snip, 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 and then come out the other end looking rather silly.
Well, especially, and if your hair's curly, it jumps up even more. But you can hide more with curly hair. So, you can hide more disasters with curly hair because it kind of does its own thing.
So do you think when you go back into business and you go back with your clients, do you think you're going to be influxed with lots and lots of people rushing to you with disaster hairdos saying, please, Sarah, can you come and fix it? Can you save me?
Yes, I think I'll have quite a few clients that have, had a good chop or had a good do. I'll also have the other ones that have never touched it because they didn't. But yeah, well, I think we'll be having some fun when we go back. And as I keep saying, as long as they've not coloured it, that's fine.
Yes, stay away from the colour. So if someone has chopped into their hair and they've done something a little bit wrong, does it make it more difficult for you to correct because there's lots of different lengths and there's lots of different layers?
Well, yeah, but it depends what the hairstyle is anyway, because if it's layered, you could probably hide a few of the chunks, and if the hair's thick, it usually hides better. It depends how many chunks and where they've taken them from, really. It's just, hair grows. It will get better. So a couple of months down the line, it'll be back to normal. Or they can have a short style.
A short style. Well, yeah, that's have you ever had to shave anybody's head because they've done that much of an appalling job?
No, and I hope I never do.
Oh well, do you know what? That would definitely be me. I would. A little story for you. I did once try an attempt to cut my dad's hair, and this was on Christmas Day, the Christmas just gone, I think it was. And he came down and he said, Chris, I'm desperate need of my hair doing badly. I said, well, come here. I'm perfect at doing hair badly. So, come here. But no, I did. I genuinely did. And he got me a pair of scissors. And he works in the textile trade. So his scissors he brought me, they were like 8-inch blades.
Mm-hmm.
And I just dived straight in there and I'm chopping away. And it wasn't that bad. It really wasn't that bad
In
at
your
all.
opinion.
But in my opinion, yeah, I'm glad it wasn't me.
This is what everybody says. She says, it's not that. It's just these messages I'm getting now. It's not that bad, It actually looks quite good.
Just don't look
Okay.
closely. What would you give, like advice-wise? What would be the best scissors for people to use?
Well, you can buy hairdressing scissors. They're not obviously the quality probably of a professional hairdressers. I mean, my hairdressing scissors cost nearly £200.
Wow.
You don't need anything like that to use. But you can buy hairdressing scissors online. So just a decent pair of hairdressing scissors. Just don't use the nail scissors or the kitchen scissors. Nail scissors are curved, so they're not really that good to cut straight lines. So just splash out on some hairdressing scissors and a decent pair of clippers. But you're probably not going to use them again after lockdown. So
I mean, if you're going to do it, at least attempt it properly and put a little bit of thought and effort into it, isn't it?
But usually people, it's a whim thing. Oh my goodness, my fringe is a bit long in the mirror tonight, chop. And the only thing they've got in the bathroom are nail scissors. So it's usually on a whim. They don't usually plan it.
Wow.
So
So just on the topic of like wrongs and things and the biggest mistakes you've seen, what's been the worst colour you've seen someone do?
The worst colour is when they try and go from brown to blonde, and they go to the supermarket and they buy some bleach and they put the bleach on and they strip the colour. But what they don't realise is when the hair's dark, it strips in layers. So it goes from like the brown to a light brown to a really horrible orange and then a yellow. And they cannot get it to the colour that they want to go because the bleach they're using isn't strong enough because it's not professional bleach. And it just ends up a tangled, horrible, out of condition mess.
Wow.
With a horrible orange colour. And then they land up on you and say, can you help me? And then the hair's that bad condition normally that you really do struggle.
Wow, I always thought that was a myth. I always thought that like a hair going orange was a myth, but obviously
no.
not.
It's quite a common event, that. Yeah, and a lot of girls would probably own up to that one.
So you do cut your own hair, don't you? Obviously, you are a trained professional. You can do it.
Yeah, I can cut my own hair. My hair's short and I can cut my own hair. I have highlights with foils, so I can't do that myself. But if I really, really needed to, I could put a streaking cap on and pull the streaks through. But I'm kind of just thinking that why should I? I think I should have dark roots like everyone else at the moment.
Well,
and,
that's it.
I just don't think it's fair that I don't. So I'm going to keep my dark roots with everybody else at the moment.
I mean, why can't it be a new fashion trend?
Well, dark roots are very fashionable at the moment.
Yeah.
The ombre looks very, very fashionable. It's just that we're all going to have it.
Well, there's been a shortage of toilet roll. There's been a shortage of pasta, rice and flour. I reckon in a few weeks' time there's going to be a shortage of hair colours and hair dyes because everyone's going to be running out to go and get the hair fixed and go and get the hair done. And you guys are going to be, working your backsides off, fixing everybody's...
It's going to be a slow thing because we're going to have very, very, very strict guidelines, which I'm quite lucky. I work on my own. So I can do that absolutely no problem. But I do worry about these big salons with a lot of staff because it's going to be a serious, hygiene, thing because, all this 2 meters apart. We can't be 2 meters apart from a client.
No, you can't, no.
So no, who knows what's going to happen. But when you look at the other countries, it's a very, very slow, stringent process. And it's right. And it's absolutely right that it should be.
Correct. It takes time. And the only way to get through this is by letting whatever is going to happen and get there eventually. It's better getting there eventually than rushing there and then in another couple of weeks we're back to square one again.
They'll close us down again, which is, we don't want that. And also I don't think a lot of the vulnerable people will be able to still go to the hairdressers yet. I think they're going to be a bit, I don't want clients that are unwell coming, that have underlying conditions coming to me.
Of
I
course.
don't want to be responsible to pass anything on to them. So they're going to be a long time before they get back, I think.
Of course. And like will it affect you being able to do home visits and things? Is that off the cards for you as well?
I wouldn't go to anyone's home because not now, not with this situation.
No.
I'm not a mobile hairdresser generally anyway, unless people have been unwell or they can't drive or I have popped round to do it. But no, I will know in my salon that my salon is immaculately clean and it's disinfectanted, and after every client it will be, and so I wouldn't want to put myself in danger going in anyone else's home, to be fair, or me taking anything into them. So
of course, yeah.
No, I won't be going to anyone's houses.
I've got a little question. A little question has just sprung into my mind. And with you living on a farm and you are being in the lambing season, when it comes round to the taskful job of shearing the sheep, does that fall on you because of your background? No.
Luckily, no. That's its own profession in its own right. They are amazing. When the guy comes to shear the sheep, they are so fast and so amazing. They soon get the wool off the sheep. If I could work that quick.
and there's me thinking you'd have that job, and there's a field full of sheep somewhere that have got wonderful permanent sets and nice little highlights because
No, I'm really sorry to disappoint you, but I do have a little dog. I have a little Cavapoo that he's had a bath and a trim this week. So, and I don't usually do him. So, yeah, he's had a little trim this week. So, no, I definitely don't do the sheep.
How do you find kind of doing that with your dog? Because at the minute, one of my chihuahuas, Arthur, he needs his nails clipping, and you can do anything to him other than clip his nails.
They don't like the feet being touched, do they? My little one doesn't either. But you've just got to be careful with the nails. You don't go too far to the wick, don't you? And then they bleed. So I think we do have some animal nail clippers. So Bertie's needs doing as well, really. But doing a bit at a time. I did his face this week, so I'll carry on doing.
Well, I think I might have to try that as well. A little bit at a time. I mean, Arthur likes his food, so we've even tried to bribe him with food, and we hold him, but still, no, he cottons onto it. But I did see something on Facebook the other day, and it was a little video, and it was a tutorial how to trim your dog's nails during lockdown. And what they did is they wrapped them in like a towel, so they make a sling, and each pole comes out of each kind of side, and you scoop them up in this towel, give them something at the front to distract them, and they just hang in there, and apparently they feel relaxed, and you can get there, and you can. So I might give that a try.
Give it a go. Nothing lost.
Make a little hammock out of a towel.
Yeah, let me know if it works.
I will do indeed. I will do, because it is. It's a stressful thing.
Yeah, very stressful, because you don't want to upset them either, do you?
Just before we wrap up and say our goodbyes and go, because this has been I've learned a lot from this,
Good.
because I was getting to the point where I'm thinking, right, I might just have to give myself a bit of a trim, just a bit of a tidy up, but I'm not going to bother, because
No.
I think I'd rather just leave it now, because I'd do something wrong. I'd be one of those people where I'd start doing something and it wouldn't quite match the other side, so I'd do it a bit shorter, and keep going, and then before I know it, I've got a skinhead.
But you created your own style, so you're unique.
Well, there you go. That's it. Exactly. It's all about being different, isn't it?
Of course.
Well, it's been lovely having a chat with you, Sarah, and enlightening us on the wonders of cutting hair and things. And I, for one, will not be attempting it. So, just before we do wrap up and go, would you advise a yes or a no on people wanting to cut their own hair?
I wouldn't say yes or no. I would say if you really feel that it's that bad, give it a go. Give yourselves a trim on dry hair. Don't take too much off, and just go with it. If you can wait for your hairstylist, that's great. But what are we now? We're 6 weeks in. We could be another 6 weeks. So there's going to be a lot of, looking like Cousin It, aren't there? Very short.
Yes,
shortly.
there is. Oh, there is.
So,
there is.
If you want to cut your fringe, hair grows. Unless you're bald and you're a man, hair grows. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. Don't stress about it. We just don't take too much off. Just do a little bit at a time on dry hair.
Hair.
Hopefully, you shouldn't be too bad.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much. Is there anything you want to say? Add some shout outs, some mentions?
No, not really. I just thank you for asking me to come on. And hairdressing is a wonderful job. It's a very sociable job, and it's, I think people are probably realising now it's not just cutting hair. When you try and cut your own hair or colour your own hair, we are professionals. I've been hairdressing a long, long time. I've done loads and probably hundreds of thousands of colours, and I'm still learning as I go along. So, just be accepting that hairdressers are very professional. And I think this lockdown might have made people just realise how important hairdressers are. They keep saying we're not essential workers, but I think a lot of people actually think we are essential workers.
No, of course.
And I can't wait for myself to go back to work. I miss it dreadfully. I miss my clients. I miss talking. I miss everything about it. So, but no, just thanks for having me on today.
No problem at all. Thank you. No, but hairdressing is a very sociable thing anyway, isn't it? I mean,
very, and that's what a lot of clients will be missing too, talking to their hairdresser.
There's lots of people out there who don't always have interaction, and so when they go to their hair salon and they've got someone to talk to, it's wonderful.
I have made it a thing while I've been off that every day I ring a couple of clients and I have like 10-minute chat with them, because some people don't see anyone all day. I have a family, but I don't see any of them. In fact, I've taken to talking to myself, so it's all going badly wrong.
Quite often the best way. You get the best answers if you do that.
Yeah, it's true. You get your own way.
Well, it's been lovely speaking with you.
Thank you.
No doubt our paths will cross very soon, because we do share a mutual connection, don't we? Where I work, I found out today, talking to you beforehand, that you've actually been in shows in the theatre where I work.
Yeah, and it was the first time I'd been in that little theatre, and I thought it was absolutely gorgeous. I thought it was a lovely theatre. And just, be lovely when you're back on your feet and you're back open again.
Indeed. Well, hopefully it shouldn't be too long, but you guys were actually the last people to be on the stage before we closed.
Yeah, we just got it in, didn't we?
Yes.
We were very lucky.
Yes.
Yeah, and I enjoyed every minute of it. It was fantastic.
Good.
And thanks to Miss Janet for putting my name forward for this.
Yes, big shout out to Miss Janet.
Big shout out to Miss Janet. She's a great Miss Janet.
She is, and she's been posting lots of posts on Facebook of cakes, and I've been very jealous.
Oh, well, that's
all these cakes have been popping up. Oh,
lots of baking.
Dangerous.
Yeah,
dangerous.
Very.
People are leaving this lockdown. Either hunky because they've been working out, chunky because they've been eating too much, or drunk because they've been drinking too much.
And I've done all three, so there you go.
Yes, I have. I'm leaving a hunky chunky drunk.
Me too.
Well, look after yourself, Sarah.
Yes,
take care.
You too, Kris. Thanks very much.
Thanks again.
Bye.
I will speak to you soon. Bye for now. Thank you very much, Sarah, for that. I have learnt a lot during that little podcast there. One thing that I will definitely not be doing is attempting to cut my own hair, because it is just a disaster waiting to happen. Now, because I love a good laugh and I have a very dark and possibly some might say sick and twisted sense of humour, I really want to see more of these DIY disaster hairdos. So if you know anybody, or yourself maybe, who has had a bit of a bad do with your do-it-yourself at-home hairdo, then do get in touch, because I'd love to have a chat with you. Or if you want to, just share a picture with me so I can have a laugh and a giggle. Thanks again, Sarah, for getting involved. I wish you all the best of luck with your lambing season as well, and all your little animals. Because we often don't realise just how much animals possibly could be suffering during this lockdown, because we're too focused on ourselves, and we do forget about the little animals in life. But that's another podcast maybe. I can have a chat to someone about animals. What are they doing? Is there any vets out there who might be wanting to come forward and have a chat? That's a good one. Let's have a chat with a vet. Right, I will go and put pen to paper and see what I can come up with. If there is any vets out there listening to this and you want to have a chat, come and tell me your story. I'd love to hear from you. Keep supporting each other, keep supporting the NHS, keep clapping on a Thursday night at 8 p.m, keep being safe, keep being careful, but most importantly, keep washing those hands.